is that my bones account for 14% of my body weight. This brings me so much joy. I am so joyful. Actual fun fact about me is that because I'm creating my own models, technically this model here is my 5th main model. It should be in other forms if not with Bondsley! Get out of there, Bondsley! You are not going to survive! Oh, that poor Bondsley! John Bondsley.
Now people! Hello everyone! I'm XSerris. I'm a 3D snow leopard night VTuber. I've been streaming for 3.5 years. 1.5 years has been as a 3D VTuber. I can fly, chat. I feel it. I'm a variety streamer that plays anything from TTRPGs, retro, action, puzzle, hack and slash games. Yeah, Meta, he got that tone, remember? He got that vibe. I have a bit of chaotic energy, but cozy vibe, teasing, but also supportive, suggestive, but wholesome. Sure. Oh, maybe someday we'll get there. But for now, thanks for coming. I'm classy.
Hi, I'm QueenieBebee, your local queen from the and your chat room just for me. I am a comfy cozy gamer, and I've been streaming for about 4 years now. Cherry! Fun fact about myself, this is currently my chibi form. My full form will be coming out soon. She is currently being raped.
You lay down on the bed!
And come check her out when she is done and ready. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye!
Hold it! Hello everyone, I'm KyleGaymer, your VTuber, a gentleman. Can I put his stream, his active stream, on my head? The answer is yes. I've been a streamer for 9 years, and I've been a VTuber for 4 years of that.
I'm in now, so perhaps the kingdom isn't a lost cause.
I really like how he's telling he's a party member. My content is basically one of two things. Either I play RPGs or Fall Guys. One because I'm a weeb, and the other because I'm crap.
Look at that! Oh my crap!
About myself. This last year, I placed second in the 400 plus VTuber Fall Guys tournament.
Coming up in second place, only 1 round behind, GoggleCandy!
Candy, jump off! You have enough wins, bro!
I have to be ready for my debut later in August. But enough about me, let's get on with the practice.
Yeah, we can vamp. Hi, everybody!
Hello.
Welcome to PAX Saturday! That's so much more energy than I expected! Let's just keep that high and top it continuously. I love how they gave us a mic. I don't even know.
Yeah, no, you can just shout for
I'll just shout for the rest of the round. Woo! I have to remember to eat my voice. Oh, look, we're gonna go. Look, I vamped!
Look at us.
Dad, I vamped!
You did.
Hey.
Good job. So this stream can be split in 4 parts, and each one of us took a different part for it, and we felt the easiest way to intro is to do a nice little video editing. They allow me to do the video editing, therefore I looked the best, and I grabbed their most embarrassing clips because they gave me the power to do so. We will be talking from beginning ideas up to when start making model, buying a model, and other such things, and we want to make sure that we have enough time for Q&A, and there might be some giveaway stuff later.
Can confirm there is giveaway stuff.
Can confirm there are giveaway stuff.
Hell yeah.
We got prizes, friends!
Hell yeah.
And an additional thank you to all the VTubers that I contacted to help with that initial little skit. Yomi, Aki, Maple, and Tane, Tane was actually here last year for the panel. That's how I met her, and she contributed for the VTuber panel, so I'm very grateful for them for helping. You can clap for them, that's fine. Yeah. Sorry, just your truthful, it's fine. Be happy. So first we start with me, and the basic question of, do I want to VTube? You can find out for free. The asterisk is, I can't tell you what not to do. If you want to spend money, that's on you, but I can tell you, the advice, please. So first off, the healthy evolution starts with, why do you want to be a VTuber? Why exactly do you want to do this as opposed to, say, we'll call it flesh tubing?
Or meat tuber.
Or meat tuber, that's another fun one, meat tubing. Some people say face cam, that's bold. Don't face cam, come on, you're meat. So do's of why you might want to, as examples. So if it makes you feel more comfortable behind an avatar or PNG or model of some sort. If you enjoy that medium, if something about VTubing itself feels like you can express or be more creative with what you're doing. If it brings out more of your personality, for me, because I host in a similar outfit, this is based off of Pegasus, and I do a lot of hosting as that at conventions, so when I made a VTuber, it made me feel a lot more comfortable and more expressive because it felt like cosplay. Or if you wish to present the real you, so if a lot of people in the trans community, they have maybe a female, male persona, however they feel most comfortable to present themselves, and they feel kind of that elation from being able to present themselves to the public in that sense. Don'ts. Don't do it if you think it'll get you more followers or subs or money. The era of VTubing being the content is well done. It is now just a part of content. It is just part of the stream, the same way that you have, Streamlabs or whatnot. So don't do it expecting to get more views because of it. And also, if your content is that you are a VTuber, again, that's gone. That is no longer. Some people made their initial brand by that. Cool. We're past that at this point. So don't buy a model. Yeah. Don't do it.
Hey, stop it.
Stop it. I see you opening VGen. Don't do it. Models can be a very long and expensive process. My first one, everything total was $1,200. The current one that I have making is a little over $3K. It can be a very expensive process.
Good God.
They can take
your teacher's salary?
on my teacher's salary.
In this economy?
I can make mine like you can.
We just finished Teacher Appreciation Week, and Goggle's a teacher. Can we get a clap?
Says the other teacher.
I'll take that.
We are not a teacher.
Not the official one.
Yeah, it can be expensive. They can take a long time to draw and rig. I was on the waiting list for about 3 years for the artist that I've wanted for the past 5. And even then it took like 4 or 5 months with regular communication to get it done. So it can be a very long process. Your computer might not be up to the task. It might not seem it. Fall Guys takes a lot of your CPU, GPU. It takes a lot of it. And many times before I got an upgrade, I had to turn it in, like everything else off. I had to go through my Android phone, which is not great for VTubing, but it works. So your computer might not be up to it to use everything all at once. And you don't know if you're going to stick around yet. It could just be a fad for me. It could go 1 or 2 months and be like, I don't really feel like doing it. You might have just sunk money into this hobby that you're not, going into. Much like Magic the Gathering. Or Warhammer. However, a good start is to borrow/buy a PNG. PNG tubing is VTubing. All right, we're not going to make a difference. They are both VTubing. All right. So don't feel like you need to buy a model to VTube. You can do it as a PNG. Why did only part of that show up actually? Draw. Okay. If you want to draw, if you draw your own, you can also have more than one. So you can make multiple, iterations. You can also switch between a happy, face, a sad face, whatnot. You can commission a piece. Make sure you communicate with the artist about like what you want, how many you want, what do you want to look like. You can source one online as well, or you can ask your friend. So you can either go on, no joke, the couple of those in the center, those I gave a very broad idea to 4 different Etsy artists. And I said, give me something with these 3 things, and then give me one additional something from you. And then I took all of those and I like this aspect, this aspect, this aspect. Then I went and commissioned a full PNG that I then used to base my model off. For the one in the far left corner, that was made by a friend as a gift. So, however you feel you can get that art for you. And feel free to experiment too. So if you're not feeling the jive of being a lawyer, maybe try jiving as, I don't know, a sea cucumber. Maybe a rock, maybe a signpost. I don't know any of you people like that whatsoever. Imagine being a signpost. No, can't imagine, can't feel it. And also make sure before you gear like this is what I want to do, make sure you test the waters. So learn how to use all the software. So OBS, Streamlabs. If you're going to stick with PNG, make sure you stick with, why am I blanking on the website? Fugi, thank you, Fugi. Stream a couple hours at a time, because like you might feel like, oh, half an hour, okay, that was cool. But most streams are not half an hour long. Sometimes that's just the intro to a stream. Stream for 3 or 4 hours, 5 hours, 6. If you enjoy it, cool. But you might not. You might just be a thing where you're just too tired to go past 2 hours. Play with audio settings. I still struggle with this a bit. I'll be honest, audio is not my strong suit. Fugi is your friend. I knew I put it in there. We used to have to grab source code to do Fugi stuff.
That was the worst.
That was the worst. Go to a specific website, put in their Discord address, assign them a picture, and maybe a reactive picture, and then put all that HTML into one thing for one person to react to Discord. Back in my day, we had to grab them source codes and put it in our Apple IIs and we VTubed all on trail. And play around with the free programs. So Mix It Up, or Sound Alerts, or the throwable items that we will not acronym. We won't. It's Saturday afternoon, no. And just play around with those, and you might actually get a bit of an idea of what your stream's like from just messing around with those, finding things in there that you enjoy doing. I've made all my channel points into gotcha redeems through Mix It Up. 1 out of 10 times, Senator Armstrong might come out and punch you in the face. It might happen, who knows? Wait, that's right, I did list them out. Forgot about that. Stream avatars is another one. I do use it, I know many other people do. And game-specific add-ons. So DVD there's a tooltips for them. Hearthstone has one for them. Compendium of the Lamb very famously has one that sometimes works. And then, do you enjoy it, or is it a chore? Do you look forward to streaming every day, or do you like, I have to finish dinner so I can stream because I'm just doing, like, really think that are you having fun, or are you doing it out of a sense of obligation? Because this should be fun. And then, do you want to stay as a PNG tuber, or do you want to actually put money forth for money? It's an important question. It's just your money. I can't tell you what to do with it. Then you build your persona, and then plan your model. So, what sort of streamer are you? This is when you start the whole planning process of your model. So, what kind of streamer are you? How are you comfortable interacting, and what are your preferences? Are you family friendly? Are you in between? Are you a lewd tuber? Figure out where your comfortability is, and that can actually guide where your model will go. Is there like a lot of rigidity, or is there a lot of bounciness? We don't know yet. Where are your boundaries? What are you okay with your chat saying and doing? What are you okay with having on your stream? Figure those out soon and make sure you implement them in your community. The ban button is not a bad guy. It is there to make sure your community stays your community that you're comfortable with and your community is also comfortable with. So feel free, if someone's saying something's not good, time out, ban them, it's fine. You're just laying groundwork for what you're comfortable with. And I keep going into my next one. And define the self that you want to present and start designing. Are you whimsical? Are you bold? Are you informative? Are you bouncy? Do you make a new model every single 2 weeks?
What? I'm bored.
That is Iron Mouse.
That too. And with few exceptions, you'll have the model that you make for years. So make sure to put your time and effort into that. And now I have to move this right along to BB. Here you go.
Don't break it, it's my work one.
Teacher salary.
I really can't though. Not in this economy.
Not really.
You're good. It's all good.
Hi.
Hey.
So VTube Studio. Who is she and how she work? VTube Studio is the live 2D program that is mainly used for live 2D. You input your file in there and then you see your model move. Now, how to get that model? How do you get one? You can commission an artist or you can make your own. Now there are a few sites or places where you can find an artist to commission, some such as Twitter, in the DMs of Discord or in Twitter, VGen, Ko-fi, Booth, Fiverr, Skeb, and there are others, I'm sure, out there. If you are doing through DMs, make sure you keep track of everything. Make sure you have a paper trail because you might need it in the future in case your artist starts to ghost you. I've had that happen to me. It has put me back about a year and a half for a model, and I am still going through that with my rigger still now as well. So I've had a little bit of unluck with my full-size model. Now, the rules, they aren't actually rules, but they're really highly suggested. Yeah, they're guidelines.
Yeah.
Really highly suggested guidelines that you should kind of follow to be a good client for these riggers and artists. And that is to make sure you have the full amount that you are going to be paying for your model and the rigging up front. You don't have to necessarily pay it all up front. I don't suggest that unless there is a written contract. But being able to pay that full amount and having it set aside will help. That way nothing along the road comes and ruins that plan. And another thing is to make sure you have an idea of what you would like. Because if you go to an artist and you're like, hey, I want a VTuber. Okay, what kind of VTuber are you doing? I don't know. That's not gonna fly. They are there to create your image of what you would like. Another thing also is you can also ask for revisions and updates. Don't be afraid to, because if you don't like something, the artist is not gonna know. They're trying to cater towards you, and you want your VTuber to be something that you are comfortable streaming with, not something that you look at and you absolutely hate. And you can revamp yourself. So if you find something that you want to change to make yourself different from others who are similar, such as myself, I am a bee. I decided everyone's turning into bees now. Okay. Now I've kind of shifted into a bee made of honey. So I am now officially a honey bee.
H-U-N.
Get it?
H-U-N.
No,
But you're a hun.
no, they're the honey. So, you know, there's that. And also leaving a tip for your rigger and artist also helps support them as well. They are going through a lot to make your model for you, and they're taking time out of their day. It could be their full-time job, and if you think about it, if this was your full-time job, you would kind of want a little bit of extra, you know, thank you. So we definitely have that aside. And this goes for both the artist and the rigger. I put it both for both things. It's right there. And like I said, make sure you save all messages and make sure you set hard deadlines, because if they do not meet those deadlines, they'll kind of keep just pushing back, and you don't want that. here's a little few pictures of the progress. So the one on the line art is what my artist came up with for my honey model. I didn't really like the asymmetrical look of it. I wanted something a little bit more, so I myself designed. How do I stop it? And on the other side is what I drew for a concept for my outfit that I wanted. I wanted honeycomb, I wanted pollen baskets on the arms and legs, because that's what bees have, and of course the fluff and wings. And then we have the line art from the artist, and then the full form.
Can we get a quick ooh ah? Yeah, you guys did so good.
Good job, Chad.
It does go through a lot of stages when creating. Like you have your line art first, after like the sketch, and then they color it in and make it all cut up for what the render means. Now you got your live 2D model. Now what? What is VTube Studio? VTube Studio is an app for virtual YouTubers that make it easy and fun to bring your own live 2D models to life. That is exactly what is said on the
Website?
Steam website.
Oh,
One
yeah.
of the two.
The Steam page.
Yes. It is a free app on Steam. You can download it, though it does have 2 DLCs. One to remove the watermark, that pesky, cute little watermark, and then the other one is for collabing. And you get to virtually collab with your friends. That way all of you who are live 2D can join together, be moving on the same screen, and be able to move.
Be moving.
Now, I did put the price up there. The multiplayer collab is $20, and the watermark removal is $15. And once you buy them, you don't have to worry about it ever again. Those are yours. You don't have to worry about paying a subscription fee or anything like that to keep the watermark removed. It's just gone. And if you are using the free version, you can use it on your phone and use it as a camera to connect from your phone to your camera. If you're using a free version, it will time out every 5 minutes and you will need to kind of reactivate it. If you have paid, then you don't have to worry about that. But that's only if you're using your phone. If you're using a webcam, you won't have to worry about it timing out because it is there. Now, it is, like I said, the most commonly used for Live D, and it gets updated very frequently. They have like an update like every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on what patches need to be done, if they find any errors, such as that. And like I said, you can hold multiple VTubers and models in that for yourself, and you can like have many different models. Like if you have one for winter, spring, summer, and fall, you can hold all of them in VTube Studio as long as you have the
Was that your wing?
Okay. As long as you have the files for your VTube model, you can put in as many as you want. Same with items, and you can also add special effects like glittering or glowing or crazy glitchy look. And like I said, you can also hold moving live 2D collabs. And here are pictures of VTubers.
This is Steve.
This is Steam. Like you can see the DLC and the web page for VTube Studio. And what's a collab? What is this? Collabs are a great way to make friends. You can hold big events like a birthday, a celebration of your streaming anniversary, or your affiliate anniversary, or Twitch partner anniversary, and it allows you to socialize others and play collab games together, so co-op games. They can be chaotic the more people you have in there, so make sure you are mentally and physically prepared for that, because it will be a lot. And it can also help you raise money for fundraisers and like donathons, so donation marathons. For big events like subathons and donathons, make sure you have goals for those that you would like your chat to meet, such as you want to do a donathon. He wants to put out merch, but chat has to unlock that goal by donating to get that merch. So it is kind of more designated to stuff that your chat will want, not specifically you, but your chat. And you can make rewards like punish yourself, but never harm yourself. Not a good idea. But you could like my ooh woo, you could do ooh woo.
pop.
Wait, I can
Roll.
redeem. Boop. Can you give us any more?
No.
You guys can redeem it later.
What are you talking about? Anyway. And you can play a variety of games like Fall Guys, you can do Pummel Party, Mario Party, Mario Kart, you can do karaoke, video watching, I do
Repo.
I do video watching of food videos, I call it Food with Dudes. I have some of my friends come in, we watch food, and we're just eating and watching food and chatting. You can also do karaoke as well. That's a little bit more difficult when you're doing karaoke because the timing won't actually line up. But if you figure it out, let me know, because I could do that knowledge. And here is a collab version with we're playing golf with friends. This is from my re-debut recently with my chibi model, and that is my mascot, Colonnade, below, and all the little slimes on the bottom are all the people who joined me. Now, they were not moving, they were not live 2D because they had so many people, because live 2D only lets you have up to 6 people with you now when you are using that VTube Studio Live moving. So I had everyone as Fugies. I made them their own little transparent little slime guys. That's my honeys. And then here is with moving models. Now we did use Video
Ninja.
Thank you. Video Ninja for this collab because theirs is 3D and the rest of us are live 2D. So we kind of put that together. Video Ninja was a browser source that we ended up putting in OBS. That way we could have all 4 of us on screen. And that was my background for my. And now, like I said, collabs, how do we do this? You can host in VTube Studio for live 2D, but for friends, we'll have to have Steam as well, and they'll have to have live 2D Studio. And you'll have to have a password that only the people will know in order to be part of that live 2D Studio collab. And it, like I said, allows you to be moving on the same screen, which is very big. They didn't used to have this. This is actually fairly pretty new recently, not super recent, but and if you don't have, if your friends don't have that, you can use Fugi as well. They'll show up as PNGs. You just put that in as a browser source. Also, VTube Studio now has a thing where the Fugis will pop up if you link it to Reactive Fugi. So there is that. And for 3D collabs, you can use Video Ninja, Second Life, or VR Chat. Video Ninja can be used for live 2D, 3D collabs between friends, just requires that link browser source. And here's some pictures of the reactive fun. So there's Discord Reactive, which you can activate there. If you don't want to put in browser sources, it'll make their little icons appear in VTube Studio. And the other 2 pictures on the left, are the options to do the live 2D, left, my left, yeah, their left, our left, everyone's left. You just hit the purple icon on the bottom, you add the password up at the top, you can name your hosting thing anything, and then you click the person you want to add. You have to be Steam friends because otherwise they won't be able to accept the invite. And you have to also make sure you are on the same file server because if someone is in Eastern North America and someone is in like Asia, you're not going to be able to connect. So you have to make sure all that matches up. And then this is Discord Reactive Fugi. This is where you can change other people's Fugi to match an image that you want up on your stream, or they can have one as their default. You can have multiple different models for your Fugi as well. As you can see, I have a whole bunch. I have a specific one I use for when I do my voice acting of Umi Neko. I have my D&D one, and then my slime versions, as well as my Christmas one. So a whole bunch.
And now we
Now
move
we
on.
change places.
The only 3D VTuber here on the table.
So if you have 3D questions for 3D VTubing, you're going to want to
Please put on your 3D glasses now.
Tell them we can perceive you.
So good.
They are, thank you, Chad. Hello, everyone. So we had our intros.
Goggles started it, we're just continuing.
It's
To be
a check.
fair, I do that at home too, and it's a little disturbing.
Please continue.
Well, unfortunately, I am the odd one out here in more than one ways. I am the 3D VTuber on the panel, but I am also the only one who failed to have a cosplay for today, so I feel like this is...
beautiful.
I mean, you know, this is just representation of real life stuff. You know, it's not VTubing if it's not stuff. So yes, I am a 3D VTuber. So I wanted to talk about whether or not you're starting fresh from 3D or whether you're transitioning from 2D to 3D. There are a lot of differences between them. Much like how Goggle mentioned earlier that PNG tubing is VTubing, you know, they're all kind of on the same plane, but you know, some people have different ideas. So one of the things that I definitely want to hammer in before going into this is that when you manage your expectations, they should not be like this. It should not be moving from a 2D to 3D and it being some magical, mystical thing, because sometimes moving to 3 dimensions isn't. So there are a lot of, you know, improvements, drawbacks, and just weird differences whenever it comes to 3D VTubing. You know, you have a full 3D model that you can view from every angle. You can do some fun things with models and scene lighting sort of thing, because you're working in a 3-dimensional space. You've got a larger range of animation and movement, you know. And it's just, you can do a lot of things. One of the big examples actually that my spouse pointed out is that base rigging for a humanoid in 3D is actually really easy. So you get to skip a lot of the hard parts when it comes to...
Why are you just rigging me?
Because you do the rigging.
There, I'll take it.
But while there are like a lot of fun things that you can do, like looking around my model layer or interacting with games, there are a lot of weird things that happen as well.
Look at it go. It's so silly. Where's the hands?
That has to be one of my favorite gifts that I have ever made. But you know, as we talked about before, your games can come with a high computational cost. So can 2D VTubing, especially 3D VTubing, if you're doing anything fancy with it. It can complicate your collabs, but as we saw, it's possible. I can be flattened and brought into the world of 2D VTubers.
With the help of green screen.
Exactly. Green screen solved everything. But there is a pretty steep learning curve to it. It was something that took me a long while to really get used to. And then there's just weird things. You know, you see a whole bunch of fun clipping things there, even outside of putting your arms inside your chest cavity. I had to learn to deal with a whole bunch of new ways of, like, if I happen to bend out of my tracking, my model would do some really fun things instead of just kind of go static as a 2D. And then there's the fun part about interacting with 2D objects in a 3D world. So, I have a lot of experience with this because I have transitioned. No, wait. There we go. That one. I have transitioned from 2 to 3D.
I see what you did there.
I have to make jokes to get through this.
Keep going.
No, you.
But 3D models are, you know, a whole different beast than 2D. We saw how you can go through commissioning, you can go through trying to make some on your own. 3D models, you know, similar yet different. One of the best softwares that you can use to try and make your own, if you really wanted to get into that, is Vtuber Studio. It's actually very helpful because there's just a lot of things out of the box. It's very easy to understand, and there are so many things that you can change about it. I originally made mine in Vtuber Studio and then got it basically touched up. You have all sorts of different body parts and sliders in there and tops on there, and that doesn't even go into the advanced editing where you can do things like texture work and actually mess around with things. And out of curiosity, I timed myself to see how long I could try and recreate a poor facsimile of my model. It took me 3 minutes. So you can do a lot of things with this very quickly. And actually, this was me testing out my expressions for the first time when I actually had my base XSerris model. So it gives you a lot of inbuilt expressions, it gives you your rigging. It's a really good place to start. If you kind of just want to get something and start playing around with it to see if 3D is good for you. Did I click and do something wrong? No! Okay, there we go. So those are some, those QR codes are some pretty helpful tutorials tutorials that I found if you are interested in making your own, and some of them go really deeply. But if making your own isn't for you, you can also commission. There are models available both like on pre-available sites as well as commissions. They can run really high. You can still get some really good ones for anywhere in the 50 to 200. But the biggest issue for me when I was starting, and this is where that learning curve comes into place. Like, everyone uses VTube Studio for their 2D. What do you use for 3D? And it was just thrust into this world of, there are a lot of options out there. So I just wanted to quickly cover some of them. So one of the easiest ones to transition to is VC Face. It works pretty similar to VTube Studio. You have everything that lets you control props, expressions, kind of move around a little bit. Your model will kind of move side to side. You get the 3D view and everything. You can play around with your expressions and even integrate like leap motion. So if you want to do the funny hand thing, you can. Just set your leap motion way too close to your body. That's how you do it.
Is that what I was doing wrong?
Yeah, I had it all the way up there.
Oh no.
Another really popular one is Vignon. So this one lets you do a whole bunch of really interesting things. It has Unity integration and a lot of customization. But I cannot stress this enough. This is for if you really want to dive into like working on your stream. This integrates coding and software development packages, and it can start to look like a mess behind that. But if you're kind of coding free, it can let you do some really cool stuff. So huge shout out to Benicula for letting me use these in our presentation. She is a fantastic VTuber. So, and then there's also VR Move Time, which I'm a little biased, full disclosure, my spouse develops. So they're up front here. And this is the software that I use to VTube. And the nice part about it is that it has a lot of ready-made animations, movement, tracking, and extras that you can layer with other things. So it's highly customizable, fairly easy to use, and you can stack it with a whole bunch of other things, and then use it to interact with all of your favorite games and pet puppies. In every game that will let you pet the puppy, you can pet the puppy.
Also cats.
Yes, please pet your cats too. We love it. But yeah, a whole bunch of other different ones, and you can actually see an example of Faxanus, my spouse there, using VR Move Time in conjunction with Vignon, and has a whole bunch of extras. Just some really quick mentions, there's also Warudo and VMagic Mirror as other options. Warudo seems to be definitely praised for its like posing and 3D environments, so it's really good if you want to get some promo stuff. And if you don't have a webcam, VMagic Mirror is actually designed for completely webcam and phone-less streams, so it's highly accessible. So, tracking apps are pretty similar. You can use VTube Studio as well to use your phone. You can also use iFacial mocap, that's what I use, but that's really usable on iPhones only, and there is MeowFace if you have an Android. While it's not supported, it is a pretty good substitute for that. So that's 3D VTubing in a nutshell. And then we are going to flatten ourselves and go back into the chalk zone for 2D.
I love that
Shout out for those of you who came to my creating a VTube model panel yesterday. Yeah! For those of you who came to the panel, those of you who didn't, we made, like, literally from start to finish, we made a model, we tested it, it did work. I have put some of the stuff, but not all the files, up on guys are gonna get a QR code, so anyone who wasn't at that panel can also still get it. But I am working on the non-made in 90 minutes and only 90 minutes model. That will be up tonight, because I'm gonna work hard for y'all. Anyway, guys, there's a software that I use for making models do movement for 2D. It's called Live 2D Cubism. Woo! Oh. Yeah! Oh, thank you. I love that energy. There's like a part of me that wants to be like, Radine, stand and stretch. We'll do movement breaks at the end. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. We'll have movement breaks. Anyway, so this is an animating software. It is not exclusive to VTubing. You can use it for all kinds of animating. It's just, this is what it's known for now. I want to let you know that, yes, it costs money. It is pricey, unless you're a student or a teacher. If you have an email account that ends in .edu, you can get like 80% off, which is nice.
Unfortunately, it is not a one-time only purchase. This is a year or a 3-year subscription purchase situation. So that means I purchased the 3-year subscription, so that meant 3 years later, I had to buy it again. Unfortunately, the discount only applies one time for one email, so keep that in mind. That being said, y'all, you can make a model in 45 days, which is ironic because it comes with a 45-day free trial! It's also just really helpful because the website itself, now that it's been translated pretty reliably into English, that was a problem 4 years ago, it has some really spectacular resources for like quick little YouTube videos of how do I do XYZ. It's really nice. I definitely recommend that before you go to like Dr. YouTube in the lawless land and Google search stuff there, start with like actually just checking out what's available on VTube Studio, or on Live2D Cubism. It's great. I said this at my panel yesterday, I'm going to say this now. I'm going to do a very quick overview of some of the things that you might need to rig a 2D model. I'm going to use the word asset, which refers to an individual item within your entire picture. Your entire picture of your model is going to be made up of many assets, like a weird old paper doll. If it moves, it has to be its own asset. I'm going to be using the word parameter. The word parameter refers to the range in which an asset is going to be moving. And lastly, I'm going to be using the word keyframe. The word keyframe refers to the actual moment in time or position within a parameter that your asset has moved. There will not be a test.
Can definitely tell you're a teacher.
Oh my god, right? I slow down for the vocabulary words and then I speed up. And we're off. I wanted to show you some assets for an old model of mine. This isn't all my assets and this isn't even my final form. But I did pull apart some hair so you guys could get a vibe of all of those things are individual layers that I have sandwiched on top of a Photoshop file. It doesn't have to be Photoshop, it just needs to be saved as a .psd Photoshop file. There we go. Anyhow, for everything that you do have to, for every movement you have to play with something called parameters. And as you can see in that weird box, there's a min, max, and default range. That minimum you don't have to set to -1. That maximum you don't have to set to 1. You can set it to whatever number you like. You can set the default to whatever number you like, because it truly is the basicest of basic animation softwares. This isn't like Macromedia Flash, but it kind of hits like Macromedia Flash. A moment of your time to pray to R.I.P. Macromedia Flash, we miss you. We miss you every day. For those of you who don't remember, Macromedia Flash was an animating software that we all grew up with. All of us. Anyhow, what you do is, for every single asset you make, you create a mesh on top of it. So that mesh is basically some bones. I'll show you some examples in a moment, but you set in your parameter a keyframe so that for each point within that range, your keyframe is that still image that it has to get to. Now, an old animation term that you may have heard of is called tweening. It's short for between. The software will make that movement happen in between your keyframes, so you don't have to. Sometimes you need to tweak it a little bit, but the software takes care of that. Here's a goat. Actually, you guys will be able to get this model for free. I made it a while ago, and I don't care, use it. I don't need credit, just have fun. It's a goat. You can change its colors. Goat. Yeah, whoever said boo, I appreciate it. So when you actually load it up, as you can see, do you see all those little weird box ghost outlines all over the place? Those box ghost outlines are the border of deformer meshes that go on every single asset that moves. And what we can use with that is we can use those to do some deforming, some squash and stretch to make movement happen. For example, you can have movement happen where you swap out an asset. There's a wing down, and you can swap it out to a wing up. That's the easiest way to do something where you're just boom, and you're just gonna swap it.
We're just gonna replace it. This is also available for free for you guys. Yeah, you can. There you go. You can move. Another way that you can move things is you could do, as I say, you can squash and stretch. Every single one of those art meshes that I mentioned on each asset, you can squish it this way. You can point it that way. And by moving those and doing that little squash and stretch movement, you can create the illusion that your asset is moving by just doing that with the paper doll layers. So it's not just the face that's moving. I actually have the face is moving in a direction, the eyeballs are moving in a direction, the beak is moving in a direction to make it so that the character looks like it's turning. That's really important. This software also enables you to add physics. Now I'm sure all of you know that VTubers are well known for being very physical. They bounce. They jiggle. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm saying it without saying it. We all know what I'm saying, so we can all just nod. Yup. Okay, cool. We're all on the same page. So this software does come with the ability to make you, like, to enable you to program these jiggle physicses. It does come with presets. Yes, the one we're thinking of does have a physics preset, so you don't have to think about it too hard.
But you do have to name it. You do have to name it.
You do have to name it. That's true. I always name mine Booba.
There you go.
Because I'm like 12. I'm a very mature individual. I've seen people who are like, Pep. And I'm like, nice. I love it. I did it for a snake. I can make that available for you guys for free. I'll just put it up tonight.
There you go, sneak pecs.
Yeah, sneak peeks.
Let's see wiggle.
Snacks. The other thing that I wanted to let you know is that you can use this software to create what is called a text-to-speech bot. Basically what you're doing is you're creating a less involved VTube model that you can then program using a software I'll show you in a moment to be your text-to-speaker when you are streaming live. So here are two text-to-speech bots. I'm pretty confident someone in the audience recognizes one of them because it's their text-to-speech bot, and the other one's mine. Mine's the hedgehog. I use a third-party site or a third-party app called VTS Pog. I have no idea what Pog stands for. Don't ask me. I don't care. Here's the link to it. Here's the QR code. Pause for QR code. 3, 2, 1. When you set it up in VTube Studio, you're going to open up your model, your text-to-speech bot, as if you were going to be streaming as that model, just so that you can do some setting changes. You just need to make sure that your mouth smile is changed to be on a frequency. There's a voice volume and a voice frequency. As long as you change those in the VTube Studio settings, you'll be able to load your bot in as an item, and the item will not move its mouth when you move your mouth. Instead, it'll move its mouth when it is talking to your stream, like when you're redeeming, saying hi or something. You can also use Live 2D Cubism to make animated emotes or other animations. I literally pretended like this was going to be a VTube model. So again, I made assets, I made frames, but there is a separate part of Live 2D Cubism that is just about animation. And this part does feel like Macromedia Flash. It's exactly like Macromedia Flash. Do you see all those little dots?
Yeah.
That's me saying change to this keyframe. It's a lot of little dots. I did this on a stream once. It was very frustrating. But look, it's so cute. They're taking notes, just like you are. Just like you are.
You said there would be no test.
I did, listen, you can take notes and not have a test. Yeah, I know. Novel. There's other sites that you can use or other apps that you can use to really bring your VTuber to life. One of them, big one that everyone talks about, is VBridger. VBridger is a face tracking add-on that makes it so that when you are animating your, with your face, when you're puppeting your character, you can have even more defined movements and really, really finicky movements. This is where you can do like tracking your tongue, for example. So if you stick out your tongue, you can, the app will interpret that and make it so that your character's model sticks out their tongue. VTube Studio itself weirdly does not yet have tongue tracking. Yet, I use for playing with the Bridger, I use iFacial mocap, which again was previously discussed as a 3D software that you can use for tracking. Anyway, I did that really, really fast. I'm gonna hold on this. This is the QR code that you actually want. Remember how I told you there's free stuff, like free models and stuff? Just get them on that folder. I also have an asset available that's just like for your actual existing model, that's just a con badge. So if you want your VTuber model to have a con badge, you can download it. It's free, I don't care. On that note, we'll take your questions, please, from a beautiful line where there's, wait, do we have microphones? Oh, sweet, microphones over there.
Additionally, just real quick, if people want to like reach under their chairs, we did tape some papers underneath, and it says underneath who the prize is associated with. Although I do see someone not sitting in one of the chairs that I specifically put it under, and it's over by the mic in the corner. Whoever wants to take my hint and grab it before. I was
gonna say you're getting like a brush.
I'm getting a brush. Yeah, I got mine.
This feels like
that is a
really
tag for a chair.
You can come to the front to bring those tags up and we'll give you the prize that you got.
Additionally, microphone set up there. So if you have a prize tag, bring it up. If you want to ask a question, feel free to start asking questions. I don't multitask, so.
Some of the chairs just actually have tags on them.
That's hilarious.
Hello.
Yes,
Little guys.
Yes, this is for you. There's an articulated video.
All right. So. Hold on. All right. So.
Someone dropped their ring.
Microphone. Yes.
Yes, since this talk of VTubing is quite interesting, I also brought up a project I made recently. Would it be okay if I pitched it to you guys?
So if you want, I would say, because there's usually a bit of a social gathering after the panel, if you want to get like really in depth about a pitch, like that'd probably be the best time. But like the important thing is like whatever you decide to like be like present as like the VTuber, like if you're comfortable with it, just run with that. Like the only person who needs to be happy with their model is you. So if you're happy with it, run with it.
Well, I just wanted to like have a chance to pitch my project, like prep for PAX.
Oh no, I'm saying like because there's limited time left in this panel, so like if you want to like give a full pitch, like we usually hang out after the panel. I'm saying. Yeah.
We'll be meeting by the kind of seating area in front of the escalators right outside the door. If you have any other questions within past the time of the panel, we have 6 minutes.
All right. Over here in this microphone next. Yes.
Okay, there we go. First of all, I want to say I'm sorry. I don't know any of you guys. Like, I don't watch.
Now you do.
There are hundreds of VTubers, thousands of this point, so don't even worry about it.
The other thing I was gonna say is I'm currently like a college student. My major is like game art, so I'm literally making 3D models and like rigging stuff and doing that type of thing for school. And I mean, I got my thing off of like I started doing it from like VR chat.
Nice.
So I do like a bunch of like commissions when it comes to that type of thing. I've seen people do, some of my friends who are also like avatar creators do use their VR chat models. Would it be like the same, because they're both, what's it called? They're both, if you have a 3D model and a VR chat model, they're both the same type of, most of the time it's a humanoid rig.
Yeah, most of the 3D programs can integrate VR chat models like perfectly fine. There's some differences in the format, like some programs don't accept all of them, but it's pretty easy to convert, especially if you're already doing modeling. Like, from a technical aspect, I would have to ask my stats facts, but I'm pretty sure you can convert it in Unity or Blender into a very friendly format.
I use Maya.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, real.
I get it for free because my college and stuff like that.
Hey, Substance couldn't
college
scale.
software.
That's Substance Painter. Substance Painter has been like huge for commissions.
But yeah, people use VR chat stuff all the time.
Okay,
for
cool.
streaming, stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you.
Over here at this mic.
I just wanted to ask, is there like a link to like this presentation or like a QR for it?
There will be the recordings that are being
Ta-da!
done. You'll be able to find them on YouTube after. We don't have a QR code or
Okay.
anything for
Yeah.
it, but you will definitely be able to find it online. Usually by KyleGaymer.
Cool, thank you.
As someone who may have a communication issue, what would you recommend for someone who would be interested in like doing VTubing that has a hard time talking with people?
So the best example I will give would be Zentreo, for example, because Zentreo is just all text speech. There is multiple different ways you can communicate to your chat without just using microphone and talking. You can talk through text to speech. You can do it through it's a visual medium as well. You can do it through visual mediums. I'm trying to think. There are anime characters that only express via screens on their faces. I can't tell you how best for you to communicate, but know that you're not tied down to just using your words.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I have a very kind of specific technical question actually. I really love VRoid Studio and doing the 3D VTubing thing, but I've had some trouble figuring out how to make asymmetrical facial expressions work. Is that something that you kind of have to go into Blender to fiddle around with? And do you have any recommendations for sources on places to figure out how to mod things that you made in VRoid Studio to be better in Blender?
I'm getting my phone friend help. My spouse, who is actually the modeler of my model, is nodding yes, you can do asymmetrical stuff. If you're curious about some of the more technical aspects, I'm pretty sure they'll be around for a little bit if you want to. We would love to talk about that more.
We love to hang out after this panel too, because there's usually more questions we have time for. So if we don't get everyone's questions, honestly, just find us for the next hour after the panel. We'll be happy to answer.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, Santa.
I probably know the answer to these already, but I just figured it'd be cool to share with the rest. How'd you come up with your usernames?
Let's start with BB.
Me?
Yes.
I'm QueenieBebee. I love beacons, so QueenieBebee, it just sounded really cute and fun. I hadn't seen anyone do it, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take this and fly with it.
And you're a Metroid snake.
I was gonna say, my joke was in my intro.
Yeah.
That's just been my username since I started doing online stuff, and it's just always felt like me, so.
I LARP as a satyr. Name is Mink. I'm real original. It's MinkTheSatyr. Ta-da!
GoggleCandy was high school Digimon. Goggle Boy was taken everywhere, so I needed something else to fill in that space. So me and my friend at the time, who's also a VTuber, came up with GoggleCandy, and I can't remember the reasoning behind it, but I just kept that, and I've kept that since high school. So thanks.
Thanks for asking a cute question.
I think we have one more minute left in the
one more
panel.
minute.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 more minute? Okay. So one of you mentioned you were teachers, right? Yep, you're all teachers. Okay, so as teachers, how do you go about doing trying to fill in a niche kind of lesson plan or a niche history lesson? So say I want to do comic book history and then going into fun facts about a certain character or a certain history as a VTuber.
I am happy to take this one. Oh man. So my absolute favorite thing to do is record fun facts and put it on as YouTube shorts or TikTok shorts and just start there, because we talk about VTubing as far as streaming is concerned. You can also do asynchronous recording, because that's something that anyone can access at any time. So last summer I just recorded a fun fact a day and I uploaded a fun fact of the day, and that just became a thing that people would look forward to. If you want to go in that avenue, that's such a great avenue that you can do on the short form. But it sounds like if you want to do something long form, it sounds like maybe doing a YouTube video or doing a stream where you do a live presentation, but then uploading your VOD at some point so that people can come back to it or see it later would be perfect. So I'm afraid to say, everybody, that is time. We have some business cards if anyone wants to look at that. We're gonna be outside hanging and vibing and answering further questions or just being your friend. So if you guys want to hang with us out there, we're just gonna, take this apart. We'll meet you out there. Sound great? Sound great?
Thank you.